Today, at the DNC meeting in the Twin Cities, one of the most important topics that we talked about was that of Social Security. Now, I know that many of our young citizens sitting out there are saying, "I'll never get Social Security." Of course, that's the message of the other party, the Republican Party. It's a flat lie. You will get Social Security, and even if we did nothing about Social Security right now, it's solvent until 2034, and after that you would get 80% of your benefits. It's very simple to fix, quote unquote, and by the way, when the Republicans say they want to fix Social Security, that's like they want to fix your dog, okay? They want it gone. So it's pretty easy to make sure that 20% drop never occurs, because all we have to do is take the cap off of the income for which you have to pay each year. We call it scrap the cap.
Welcome back to Rational Funk. My gosh gollies, we've got a couple things to go over on the next few episodes. Number one, we got some great questions from people. From our episode of opening up the floor to any questions, any fans of Rational Funk have for Joe or me. Do we ever decide how to say that? Or Joe and I? For Joe and or me? For Joe or me. And man, we got a lot coming in already, and we wanted to address them right off the bat. We printed them out. Is the MD actually always right? Which would be music director. This is from, I don't know, I can't really say the names because I don't know if we should. But is the music director actually always right? No. Thoughts on metronomes? This is a good question. I think it's good to practice on a practice pad to a metronome, and it can't hurt. It's just that I think when it becomes a thing that really lords over your ability to kind of play good human time, is when it becomes a problem. When you're always practicing with it, or if you need it to have good time. But I think it's important to spend some time on a practice pad with a metronome and also spend some time away from it. The genius free jazz musician Milford Graves most certainly has strong opinions about metronomes and would say that they cause heart attacks and things like that. Milford Graves is a total genius, and I'm a huge fan. And I could see what he's saying. Just like making something rigid that is meant to undulate in a human way, and that's the difference between rushing and dragging and having a beautiful human undulation with the drums. And so I'm going to say that use a metronome with caution, and don't rely too much on it, but it can't hurt, I don't think, in doses. And then a fun way to use a metronome is put it on an offbeat, by the way. So, and big whole notes on offbeats. That'll test your time. Have you watched Veep yet? That was genius. Have you seen that Hot for Teacher video on YouTube? I didn't see it on YouTube because I fucking saw it on MTV when it came out in 1984. About 50 times a day. I didn't need to see that shit on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I know that shit with the young Van Halen guys that are in school. They got kids that look like Van Halen. This is badass. The kid, and the kid that is played David Lee Roth is actually, he turned out to be a serial killer.
Really?
No. So, I don't know. I mean, favorite jazz records to listen to when smoking weed. I mean, listen to Sun Ra. Or even listen, that, it's easy to say all the out shit. Listen to some straight ahead jazz, man. Or listen to some like square big band, like Tommy Dorsey or something. And then you're baked, you're like, holy shit. This is deep. No, it's not as square as you think. It's not as square as you think. No, you got like, you're watching like old clips of the Tonight Show band from the 70s with Doc Severinsen. Or you're listening to Maynard Ferguson and something, you're like, oh, no, dude. Maynard Ferguson. Oh, no, you don't understand. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, but dude, listen to this. Follow-up question, what quarks make the best drumsticks? That's good. Do you compose only, here's a real question. Do you compose only on piano or do you play another instrument such as guitar or bass? When you write for, let's say, the Bad Plus, do you use paper and pencils or a computer program? Oh, cool. I write on a piano. I don't really play bass or guitar. I can goof around on it, but nothing really. But I've played piano since I was very young, since I was 5. If I really put some work into it, a couple real solid years, I could probably hang on some small level at a jam session maybe. But I do write with it and play weird music with it. But I made a record called Indelicate where I play piano and drums, if you've checked that out. Joe actually recorded that record and mixed it and mastered it. Didn't you, Joe? The mystery of Joe keeps adding. We're going to maybe get one for Joe. Let's see, has Joe ever gotten the gig? Yes. Tattoos. Showcase your tattoos. That wasn't a question. Can you show us your tattoos? Oh, I did. I'm showing you mean taking my shirt off and showing your tattoos? Maybe in another episode. Right, Joe? Maybe we'll do a tattoo thing. Dave, could you please explain where you and Ron Miles were headed to in each episode? It has been months and I'm still unclear on how a show that great could not have an ending. Thank you very much. Ron and I were basically trying to get out of there. Hey, Dave, so I'm trying to live the avant-garde, but no one around me seems to get it. I know that being misunderstood and unappreciated is part of the lifestyle, but I'm tired of people saying stuff like, shut up, Brandon, nobody cares what your view of life, that you view your life as an art project. This is the most pretentious nonsense. There's nothing wrong with every now and again being pretentious. There's no way a species evolves without somebody going, fuck this other shit, we're doing this shit, you better fall in line. I mean, this has been throughout history, that no species evolves together, and that's animals, humans alike. So somebody's just got to every now and again be flexing some muscle, and you know, it's either stupid or people go, that's interesting. Don't be afraid to state your point of view. Where is the footage from episode 8 of you putting a drumstick in your mouth and putting on the Ritz? People wanted to know about that. We got flagged by YouTube for, believe it or not, the melody of the stick sounded too much like putting on the Ritz, because it was. That shows you how fucking great I am at that. You know what I mean? And Putting on the Ritz obviously is a song that's got, you know, a lot of people, that's a classic, right, Joe? So I played it on the sticks and they flagged us and they told us to take it down. That's what happened with that. I would love to hear about your listening and playing evolution. I am assuming that you didn't come out of the womb shitting the avant-garde out of your ass. Personally, I find it difficult to listen to despite my best efforts. I would love some advice on how to develop an enjoyment for what I would assume is an acquired taste. Or maybe I am simply an unsophisticated schmuck incapable of understanding and appreciating such a highly refined art form. Well, first of all, we make jokes about that on this show, but I love all music, and so does Joe. And it's just, I hate to use the cliche that good music is good music, but that's really true. So if more atonal music or really out complex avant-garde jazz or jazz in general or creative music or contemporary classical music or any music that's made with a more complex emotion or complex configurations of tools, if it hits you in a visceral way, it's beautiful. It doesn't need to. You don't need to know. I don't walk into a building and need to know like all of the math schematics of the architecture without. I can just enjoy the shape, and I think if you take the intimidation factor away from a lot of complex music, you can find something else in it. It's something, if it's visceral or something emotional or something, because that ultimately at the end of the day is what makes music so amazing, is it really is a pure emotional connection to something.